Sunny greetings from Spielberg. We're here at the fantastic Red Bull Ring and the sun is shining and we're super psyched because we've got fans here, not only in the grandstands, but also they're back here in the paddock and also here in the starting grid for the first time since the finale 2019. So we're absolutely excited, and a man who's got to be very excited too is Liam, because Liam, you're starting in pole position. Obviously, it's your first pole position and you had one win before. So are you going to be able, do you think, to transform this pole position into a second victory?
It's definitely the plan. So we go into it trying to score as many points as we can this weekend, really, because as we spoke about before, the last couple of weekends have been pretty tough. So it's a perfect way to start. We knew this weekend that our car should be theoretically strong because it's a lot of high-speed corners, which is good for us. So it was nice to do the job this morning. But yeah, the plan is to try and convert the same thing in the race.
And I'm a bit nosy. You've got such cool headphones on. What music are you listening to?
At the moment, Drake, because he released his new album yesterday, so I haven't gone through all the songs yet, but yeah, I listen to different stuff before a race depending on how I feel, really.
So, but it kind of gets you pumped?
Yeah, it's zoned you out a little bit from everybody else, especially when you have the DJ here playing his loud music, so yeah.
All right, well, best of luck for the race.
You.
Liam Lawson, thank you so much. And now we're going to go over here because in P2 we've got Maxi Götz. And I think the main thing for Maxi, still cleaning your helmet. You need definitely good vision there. So cleaning the helmet, and then Maxi, maybe if you can turn around. Obviously starting in P2 is fantastic because your main rival, Kelvin van der Linde, he's in P8. So I guess your main aim is to keep him far behind and you hopefully all the way forward.
Yeah, that's the goal. You know, from the past, Red Bull Ring is always exciting in racing, and especially turn 1 on the start and also turn 2. A lot of things can happen, so I just want to survive the first lap and then we will see. I think the Ferrari is good in pace, so it's hard to catch him, especially in the first sector. But our degradation on the car is good, and we had a good long run yesterday, so let's see. Of course, I will push to overtake him, but in the end, I take not too much risk.
Well, best of luck, Maxi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now here's your commentator.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Afternoon, everybody. Chris Hartley here in the commentary box, overlooking the grid at this beautiful venue here, the Red Bull Ring, the start of the second half of the 2021 season. And where else in the world do you get views like that, the backdrop to this circuit, this 4.3-kilometre long circuit? That's the championship standings on screen as we come into this with Kelvin van der Linde, the points leader, having picked up his first DNF of the season after coming together with Liam Lawson at the previous event, though. The gap has come down. Max Götz, who you just heard from, onto 98 points after picking up 2 points for qualifying on the front row of the grid this morning. And then third in the championship, Marco Wittmann, also one to watch, a former double champion who knows how to win titles. Liam Lawson, who you heard from at the top of the show, has moved up to fourth in the championship now. He was fifth before the start of the weekend, but you get 3 points for qualifying on pole. That he did, and he's now on 83 points, so he's just 1 point clear of teammate Alex Albon, who won last time at the Nürburgring. There is a newcomer to DTM, if you haven't been watching the coverage so far of free practice or qualifying, and that's Max Paul, who had a big high speed off right at the end of qualifying out of the last corner, but happily the car's been repaired. He's okay. There's Esteban Muth, who's been dubbed the overtaker after pulling off some stunning moves, particularly at his home race at Zolder. He was one of the drivers in trouble yesterday in free practice. A technical problem with the Lamborghini meant that he had to miss the first free practice session, apart from going out on the track a couple of times, but coming straight back into the pits. But after working on the balance of the car, he looked much more grounded in qualifying earlier on. Nico Müller also had a few issues with his car. That was in free practice 2 yesterday, but in free practice 1 was quick in third place. But Nico Müller has just had the 1 podium so far this season. That was back in the opening weekend at Monza. Once again, qualifying not going according to plan for the Team Rosberg driver. He's going to start in the second half of the field. Absolutely stunning performance from Liam Lawson then in that qualifying session to be more than 0.2 of a second clear at the head of qualifying. So it's he that will lead the cars out onto the grid, but we can hear from another driver down on the grid now with Verena.
I'm here with Lucas Auer, who's starting in P12, and we're just joking around. Obviously, you're the local matador here. You're Austrian and you're driving here in front of your fans. So I'm hoping they're going to give you a lot of motivation to go forward, because starting from P12 is obviously difficult.
Yes, very difficult. For sure, motivation is there, but qualifying was difficult, and now we have to make a lot of ground in the race.
And I was just wondering, you're in the shadow, they're in the sun. What's better?
Well, I would say no, everything was perfectly planned for that. The shadow is a bit better.
Well, then I'm pretty sure that's going to be a good omen. Best of luck for the race, Lucas. Back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, keeping cool down there on the grid as Luke, he gets his balaclava on. Yeah, the Austrian driver from St. Johann, looking for his 6th DTM win, but them to come from further down the grid. Vincent Abril will be looking to see what he can do. He's had a pretty good qualifying in the top 10. The Monegasque driver, one of the team drivers for a very experienced HRT outfit run by Hubert Haupt, who was in the car, in the 3rd car racing for the team at the Nürburgring. That's the man to beat, though, Kelvin van der Linde. He said in qualifying this morning he got the absolute maximum out of the car. So he did one run. He went out of sync with everybody else as well, actually, as they all came into the pits halfway through qualifying. He went out and did a couple of quick laps, but then opted not to go out for the 2nd run in qualifying, saving his tyres instead because he believed he couldn't go any quicker. Marco Wittmann there, who, with a very good weekend at the Nürburgring, moved up to 3rd place in the championship. One of the cars that's going to be carrying success ballast in this race. We're almost set to go. Let's hear again from Verena down on the grid.
Here I am with the leader of the championship, Kelvin van der Linde, complaining that I didn't interview you. But if you're more in the front, it makes it easier to get the interviews. But I pushed hard for it. And now you have to promise me a podium.
If he told me that this morning, I would have got on pole. But anyway, now we have to focus on the race, try and make a show and try to go to the front. I'm excited.
You've got a lot of points in advance, but then again, you're also behind Maxi Götz. So yeah. I guess your aim is to get somehow in front of him.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard task today. So I want to take the small points today. Those are probably the most important points of the season. And then we see what we can do for tomorrow.
All right, well, best of luck.
Thanks.
See you later, hopefully in the front. All right, back to the commentator, because we're getting ready for racing.
Absolutely, thanks, Verena. It's ice cream weather, so maybe Kelvin can have an ice cream again with you at the end of the race, as he did at the Nürburgring when he won the 1st race of the weekend. There's his brother Sheldon van der Linde, who was one of the unlucky drivers at the Nürburgring when he'd got himself up to 2nd place in the 2nd race after pitting just before the safety car came out. It was all looking very good for a podium, maybe a win, but then he had to pull off the circuit. It transpired that was damage to a wheel after contact with another car, and that was game over. Arjun Maini, one of the stars of qualifying this morning, having picked up his 1st championship points with a 10th place finish last time out at the Nürburgring. He qualified 3rd, and he was another one that didn't do all of the running yesterday in free practice. Had to change the engine in the car, the Get Speed outfit, overnight, so he missed the 2nd free practice, but he was quick in free practice 1, and he was very quick this morning to get 3rd place, his best grid so far, just behind Maxi Götz, who's 2nd in the championship, and Liam Lawson, who, as I say, up to 4th in the championship now after those qualifying points. 46 points adrift of Kelvin van der Linde, but one of the interesting things that Kelvin said in the last weekend at the Nürburgring was, we've got to make the most of this 1st half of the season, because I keep telling people, and nobody believes me, but I don't think we're going to have a stronger car. The tracks in the 2nd half of the season are not going to suit the Audi as much as the tracks in the 1st half of the season. And so far, that's coming to fruition, because although he's back in 8th place on the grid, Kelvin is actually the highest placed Audi in the field. All the other Audis are towards the back of the field, unfortunately for them. Ferrari's looking good, though. Alex Albon said yesterday to me, the car is handling really well on the curbs, and you really use the curbs around this circuit. But a word of warning on that, there have been an awful lot of track limits warnings and then laps taken away from drivers in free practice, particularly yesterday, but also in qualifying this morning. If they keep going beyond the circuit perimeters and limits, and it's a particular issue at the end of the lap through turns 9 and 10, then they are going to be penalised. So the drivers have to be really careful. They've got to be right on the limit, kind of take the car onto the curbs coming out of turn 9 to get the best run into the final bend. However, if you put all 4 wheels over the curbs, then you are going to be in peril of picking up penalties from the officials. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out as the drivers now make their way into the cars, getting set for what's going to be the 9th round of the 2021 DTM. 55 minutes plus 1 lap of racing coming up. Fans filling the grandstands. Great atmosphere here, and they're allowed back in the paddock for the first time, as Verena said, since the pandemic. So it's a terrific atmosphere. The weather is set fair. We're about to go racing. The The Red Bull Ring, located in Styria, or Steiermark as it's known in Germany. It's Austria's second largest state, famous for beautiful mountainous landscape and its fine vineyards. There are numerous wine trails you can follow through the region, sampling fine wines and foods as you go. At over 16,000 square kilometres, Styria is a vast haven for nature. The landscape attracts many mountain bike enthusiasts and hikers, and the area also the birthplace of the famous Lipizzaner horses, which appear on the flag of Steiermark and are closely linked with the famous Spanish riding school in Vienna. It's an idyllic part of the world, breathtaking views around the circuit. If you can find a more beautiful backdrop for a racetrack, you must be somewhere amazing. Welcome to the Red Bull Ring, welcome to DTM, and that is what I mean. What a stunning place to have a racetrack. It's steeped in history, this circuit as well. It's had many changes to the configuration and the length of the track over the years. The history of racing in this area dates back to the late 1950s, when sports car races and then Formula 2 races were held in the nearby military airfield in Zeltweg before the permanent circuit was built here in 1969, the Österreichring as it was then. So there is your grid. This is how they're going to shape up, with on pole position Liam Lawson, Maxi Götz alongside. 0.271 seconds the difference between them. A big advantage for Liam Lawson in the Ferrari. Arjun Maini, a season's best third. Sheldon van der Linde fourth on row 3. Philip Ellis and Alex Albon. Row 4, Marco Wittmann and Kelvin van der Linde, the championship leader. Row 5, Vincent Abril and Max Buch. Row 6, Daniel Hunkedea and Lucas Auer. On row 7, Timo Glock and Nico Muller. Row 8, Esteban Moot and Maximilian Paul. Row 9, Esme Hawkey and Mike Rockenfeller, starting 17th and 18th. And the final row of the grid, Def Gore, who returns after missing the Nürburgring for Team Rosberg, and the number 12 Audi, and Sophia Florsch alongside. Sophia's done some testing here pre-season and also did some demo laps in the car for the recent Formula 1 Grand Prix here at the Red Bull Ring. Rates this as one of her favourite places to race. Let's see what she can do, looking for her first points of the season. She's going to have to carve through the field, but Sophia Florsch getting quicker as the weekend goes on, and looking to improve upon her best so far this season of 11th place. A reminder of the success ballast that is new to DTM this year. You finish in the top 3 in a race. For the next race, you carry success ballast. So the winner last time out was Alex Albon. He has to have 25 kilograms of extra weight added to the car. 18 kilograms for Daniel Hunkedea, who finished second last time out. And Marco Wittmann, near the front end of the grid, who finished third, will have 15 kilograms of success ballast on the car. It's 55 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. If there's a safety car, then we had a few of those last time out at the Nürburgring, then that distance could be extended if laps are lost to the safety car, but only up to a maximum of 2 extra laps, so it could be increased to a 55-minute plus 3 lap race if that's the case. Mandatory pit stop for every driver. They have to come in. The pit window opens after the leader crosses the line at the start, or the safety car line at the start of the 5th lap of the race. After that, it's up to you to choose when you come in and make the stop. No refuelling, of course, these days. Hasn't been for a number of years in DTM. It's just a tyre change. You have to change all 4 tyres when they come in. Limited to the number of mechanics that can work on the cars during the pit stops as well. Drivers having to adhere to the pit lane speed limits on the way in and on the way out. So quite often it's a case of drivers this season, the trend seems to be pitting fairly early, you know, in and around laps 9 to 12 is when the vast majority of pit stops have happened. And if you don't do that, the other route to go is to pit very, very late. They have a limit of 3 sets of Michelin slick tyres per driver per weekend. So that's 3 sets of tyres to last 2 qualifyings and 2 races, so you can't bolt fresh new slicks on every time you make a pit stop, every time you go out onto the circuit. The exception to that is Maximilian Paul, your first weekend of DTM. It is a guest driver making his debut this weekend in the T3 Motorsport Lamborghini. Then you get 2 extra sets of tyres, which he was able to take advantage of, I think, in the free practice session yesterday, which is why he topped the times. But nonetheless, the 21-year-old's been impressive. It's in the garage when a new floor tray, a new front splitter was being bought. They're waiting for the car to come back after the high-speed off that he had at the end of the qualifying session as the flag came out. And what was his best lap as well. He was on for a personal best lap. But Paul, a bit further down the order, one to watch. In fact, the T3 Lamborghinis are all together in 15th, 16th and 17th on the grid. Moot, Paul and Hawkey. So let's see what they can do. Detailed discussions in the T3 Motorsport garage after qualifying with Esme Hawkey, Jordan Pepper, and the team as to what they could do to improve the handling of the Lamborghini. So there might be more to come from those three drivers, three very young drivers working together. There you can see it's an uphill climb up towards turn 1 here at the Red Bull Ring. The circuit, the old Austria ring, used to go straight on there, some very long straights back in the day, but it changed. It was the A1 ring for a while, so it did many, many Grand Prix. In the mid-1990s, it was when it was redesigned and shortened, and then became the Red Bull Ring 10 years ago when Dietrich Mateschitz took over the championship circuit, and the DTM was the first championship to come and race here once it became the Red Bull Ring in 2011. 4.3 kilometres long. There's the 3 intermediates you can see. So sector 1 takes you from the start up to the entrance to turn 3. Turn 2 is a kink, really. It's not really a turn, it's on the way up the hill. Turn 3 is the hairpin at the top of the hill. Before that is sector 1. The longest sector, sector 2, takes in turn 3. They're heading now at the top of the circuit across to turn 4. And from that right-hander at turn 4, they'll begin to drop downhill, back downhill, a roller coaster ride. All the drivers that I spoke to yesterday, they said the favourite bit of the circuit is through turns 6 and 7, where it goes left, a quick link at the end of intermediate 2, and into turn 7. It's all about the flow and the rhythm there. They said there's not one corner that you have to get right, but the sector there in the middle of the lap is the one you have to nail. And then out of turn 8, straight down towards turn 9, and sharp downhill then from turn 9 to turn 10. That is where you'll see the cars running onto the curbs. But if they take all 4 wheels beyond the curbs, they're going to start picking up these track limits infringements. Turn 1 somewhere else, they've been looking at that, and turn 3 as well. But most of the penalties coming from that run into the final turn. Loads of fans here then to support the drivers in this second half of DTM. Rounds 5, 6, 7 and 8 still to come. For Liam Lawson, the pole sitter, he's been able to concentrate on DTM for the last few weeks because there's been a summer break from his Formula 2 campaign. Hasn't been in action in Formula 2 since Silverstone, but next weekend he'll be back in action, back in the cockpit of the F2 car, which has already been a race winner at Monza for the next rounds. A regular point scorer, winner and a podium finish already. Now a pole sitter, already a race winner in DTM. Can he get the Red Bull liveried and backed Ferrari onto the top step of the podium and kick off this second half of the year in fine style? It is Liam Lawson on pole position. Alongside him, Maxi Götz second in the championship. Arjun Maini looking for his first trophy finish, his first podium in the DTM. Red lights come on, we're ready for the rolling start and the charge towards turn 1, and we go racing here at the Red Bull Ring. Perfect start for the pole sitter. Liam Lawson in the lead, Götz is second, Maini in third, and then Sheldon van der Linde trying the outside line here in 4th place. He's got his nose in front, he's got off the curbs, off the track, still side by side with Arjun Maini, so that's the battle to watch as they climb up the hill for the first time. Philip Ellis, also race winner this season, just behind, and last time out race winner Alex Albon is just behind the pair of them in the next Ferrari. Here they come then, the battle for 3rd place. Ellis is getting stuck in as well, trying to come down the inside. He's down the inside of Maini. Sheldon van der Linde's around the outside. I think Arjun is going to lose 2 places here. Everybody at the back of the field as it concertinas up into the hairpin, which is a first gear corner, having to get hard on the brakes. Sheldon van der Linde still side by side with Philip Ellis, and Arjun Maini coming back at them now in the Mercedes, trying to get back down the inside. It's going to be Ellis that gets there first in the blue and white Team Winwood car, but then he scrambles out wide. Van der Linde 2, and down the inside of both of them comes Arjun Maini. He's got both places back. Terrific battle this for 3rd place. Ellis back down the inside of van der Linde, and then you've got Alex Albon watching it all go on from just behind, as well as Kelvin van der Linde, the championship leader. Moved there from Vincent Abril to gain a place on Max Buch as well into that turn, so he's just gone back up to 9th place in the yellow HRT Mercedes. But as I come towards the end of the first lap of the race, it's Liam Lawson and Max Götz well clear, helped the gap that they've got by this battle that's been raging for 3rd, 4th and 5th positions. And a fantastic opening lap here at Austria. Everybody survives. There was lots of carnage last time out at the Nürburgring, but they've all behaved well so far on this first lap of the race. Lawson goes through, he's almost a second clear, the 19-year-old. Kelvin van der Linde having to defend his position on the way into turn 1. The header goes a bit wide coming out of the corner. Alex Albon right behind him. He's got past Albon. Albert gets the place back, though, as they accelerate up towards turn 2. Despite the fact he's got a heavy car here. We've got 25 kilograms of success ballast onto the number 23 Ferrari. Down the inside comes Marco Wittmann. It's 3 abreast here. Way out wide goes Kelvin van der Linde, is on the outside of it all. Alex Albert coming back now at the BMW of Marco Wittmann. Wittmann there to the left of your picture, the 11 Vulcanhorse BMW, who's just about got his nose in front at the moment. There's a right-hander coming up. Alex Albon, though, is not giving up. The tyre driver still trying to go around the outside here. Still has his nose in front. Then he takes to the curbs, to the gravel. 2 wheels through the gravel. And the Ferrari loses a place to Kelvin van der Linde and might lose another place here to the yellow number 5 Mercedes of Vincent Abril, the Monegasque driver. Arjun Maini, meanwhile, is starting to pull it away now from Philip Ellis. So 3rd to 4th, the gap grows. Sheldon van der Linde in 5th. Those two keep swapping positions. And then it's battle with Albon Wittmann and Kelvin van der Linde, which we just witnessed at the start of the lap. Pretty ferocious stuff. Sheldon van der Linde looking to get a podium finish here if he can. But Philip Ellis, a tough opponent in the Team Winward Mercedes, and somebody that's in the top 6 of the championship. He's picking up his maiden DTM win earlier this season, the Swiss driver. Pretty much as close to a home race as it gets for him, and he's just about far enough clear of Sheldon van der Linde to keep the BMW behind for now. Right, there's Marco Wittmann, having got to 6th place ahead of Kelvin van der Linde. Alex Albon dropped behind both of them after that trip through the gravel. Up into the first gear right-hander they go up at turn 3, and then they'll climb up. It's a steep exit from there as well. Come over the crest of the hill, accelerate hard, but don't run too wide. Then it's back downhill, and it roller coasters then down towards turn 4 at Rauch before they come back of themselves to turn 6 and 7. The very quick left-hand section, which is a little bit shorter than it used to be in the original design of the circuit, as Nico Muller makes a move on Daniel Uncadeo. In fact, he was ahead of him at the start of the lap. Daniel got his nose in front coming into that corner, but Nico Muller stays back ahead, 13th place for him. Right, replay of the start. Perfect start for Liam Lawson, who has been on song all weekend long so far. Ferrari leading. Götz, who's been bagging the points in every race but one so far this season, knew he couldn't attack, and then it all kicked off in that battle for 3rd place. Back of the field, Devgo had to almost stand on the brakes to avoid going into the back of Max Paul's Lamborghinis. That was slightly hesitant off the start. Gora's made a couple of places back up. And then we had, coming out of turn 1, that battle developing for 3rd between Maini Ellis and Sheldon van der Linde. Great view from the grandstand there. Super slow-mo as they went into turn 1. Van der Linde was brave around the outside and completely off the track, but kept his foot in on the climb uphill. Exit to that turn, absolutely critical, but a contact at the back of the field as well. Sophia Florsch just clipping the left rear corner of Esme Hawkey's Lamborghini as they scrambled into turn 1. Hopefully it's just minor damage. And Alex Albon not the only one to have had a couple of wheels through the gravel in his first couple of laps of the race. Right then, here they come with Kelvin van der Linde, still just about keeping Alex Albon behind as we rejoin the battle for 7th place. Vincent Abril has dropped back a little bit further, but ahead of them, Marco Wittmann in 6th place. He's getting on to the case of Sheldon van der Linde now. The two BMWs almost together, both still now on the tail of Philip Ellis. 4th, 5th and 6th, the battle that you are looking at in the early stages of the race. Liam Lawson is 1.6 seconds clear now of Max Götz. Max is 1.7 seconds clear of Arjun Maini, and Arjun is 1.3 seconds clear of Philip Ellis. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all settled at the moment. But there, 4th, 5th, 6th all together. Kelvin van der Linde trying to get the most from the car, which is just not best suited to this circuit. Damage limitation, see what he could pick up here and try and keep Alex Albon behind him, who, as I say, has got the extra weight on the Ferrari, which will absolutely be hindering him, perhaps more so here than at some of the other circuits where you've got these steep climbs. The undulation that you get at the circuit, that slow hairpin as well. It's more weight on the car to slow down under braking. It's more wear on the tyres, more to accelerate out of the slow corners in particular. So that will have an effect as Sheldon van der Linde darts to the inside here into turn 3, gets side by side with Philip Ellis. The BMW, though, not quite getting the traction coming out of the corner, so Philip holds on to 4th place for now. They are nose to tail, and the more they scrap, the more it's going to allow Kelvin van der Linde and Alex Albon to get in on the party as well. heading down into turn 4 at Rauch then, back down through the gears. Watching this all go on, you're right on board with two-time champion Marco Wittmann. Van der Linde thinking about a look down the inside here. The door is slightly left ajar by Philip Ellis. It's last of the late breakers for Sheldon. They can't quite get through, and Alex Albon taking a ragged run again in the Ferrari, which is struggling a little bit, I think, with the weight of the car, also handling the affecting the handling of the balance of the Ferrari. And he keeps pushing on. For now, though, Kelvin van der Linde keeping him at bay. Alex Albon, absolutely a championship contender as well. So they run through, and drivers dart for the pits. So here we go, pit window opens on the 5th lap. We saw flashing through shot 2 or 3 cars. So Philip Ellis, Marco Wittmann coming into the pits together from this battle for 4th place. And also in, we've got Maximilian Buch just behind. So a race between the pit crews here. Winward run the Mercedes.
Clear, clear. Clear, clear. Go, go.
Falkenhorst run the BMW.
White line, TC cold tire.
So Ellis comfortably out ahead of Wittmann. Good stop as well for Muka Motorsport. Max Buch much closer to the pair of them. So that was a good stop. They're going to have a long stint on these tyres. But lots of these drivers ran long runs during the practice sessions yesterday, as Alex Albon has another go here. Try to get the Ferrari ahead of the Audi of Kelvin van der Linde, but the championship leader is digging in here. The South African keeping the Thai British driver at bay for now. Alex Albon flings around the outside. He's clearly the quicker of the two at the moment, but great positioning of his car here by the Abt Sportsline driver, Kelvin van der Linde. They are 5th and 6th on track at the moment, but obviously you've had 2 of the cars that were ahead of them having made their mandatory pit stop and got that out of the way for now. Lawson extending his advantage to 2.1 seconds. His last lap was a 129.7. The only driver to dip beneath the 130s. He was the only driver to get into the 127s in qualifying. As we see more cars peeling off and headed for the pits. Vincent Abril at the head of the queue. And Lucas Auer is going to follow him. And Arjun Maini is coming as well. So Maini in. You can see from the commentary box window, he's headed to the Team Get Speed box. And Sheldon van der Linde's coming also. So getting busy. Very early stops in this race. So the question is, where's Arjun Maini going to come out? He should come out well ahead of Ellis and Wittmann. Gets out just in front of Vincent Abril, and Abril has jumped Kelvin van der Linde here. So Rover Racing, the BMW, Sheldon van der Linde, just losing a bit of time in the pit stops and losing a position to Vincent Abril, almost losing a position to Auer as well as they came out. They rejoined now, blend in. You can see Marco Wittmann's Volkenhorst BMW coming out of turn 1. Here he is, and this is his moment. He's got to get ahead of Sheldon van der Linde, which he's going to do. So he's going to gain a net position here. So Philip Ellis is the leading pit stopper. He's got out, or stayed out ahead of Arjun Maini. So Arjun Maini was 3rd. And, what, 1.5 seconds clear of Philip Ellis before he came into the pits. He's a little bit down now, even though it looked like a reasonable pit stop for Arjun and Get Speed. Ellis has come out on top. He's the leading pit stopper. And here comes the BMW of Sheldon van der Linde, trying to defend his position here from Lucas Auer, but Luki gets through. So the Austrian gains a place on Sheldon as well. So that's not been a happy pit stop period or lap for Sheldon van der Linde, losing a couple of positions here to Marco Wittmann and now to Lucas Auer as Max Götz from 2nd place comes into the pits. Daniel Hunkadea coming in just behind for Gruppa M Racing. HRT running Max Götz. Looks like a good stop. That's a very good stop.
Speed, no high curve, push, you get out.
Avoid the high curves, they say.
No risk on stop.
Don't take any risks. It's a long, long championship. Great stop, though, by the team. 5.8 seconds stationary for Max Götz. That's one of the quickest we've seen. It'll be hard to beat that. 7.4 seconds for Daniel Hunkadea. And Dev Gore having a slow stop here with Team Rosberg, if that is correct. So Liam Lawson and Kelvin van der Linde will now be the top 2 in the race. Kelvin and Alex Albon promoted to 2nd and 3rd respectively. Timo Glock should move up to 4th and Nico Müller 5th, but they've all still got to make their pit stops. And here is Vincent Abril side by side with Marco Wittmann as they come through. Wittmann trying to get around the outside, but Vincent Abril keeping him at bay. So the Mercedes keeping its nose in front. He's ahead at the start of the lap. almost switching positions at turn 3. Marco Wittmann on a charge here, though. And remember, he's got some success ballast on the car, but it's looking racy here. The Vulcan Horse machine, which has gone well in every race so far, is the only driver this season to score points in every single race of the championship, Marco Wittmann. And just having a look down the inside as we cut to the leader coming in to make his pit stop. So AF Corsa changing the tyres on the number 30 Ferrari, the Red Bull AlphaTauri Ferrari. 6.4 seconds is a good stop.
Okay, careful with stops and pit action. Careful with stops and pit action.
6.5 or
13
below
laps
is
to
good.
go. 13 laps to go.
30 laps to go, and where is he going to peel out in all of this? To clear track, which is going to be useful. Sophia Florsch just going through shot. Is that Max Götz coming into the corner there? He's made his stop already. Yes, it is, and the gap may have come down a little bit. It will come down more because Liam's got to get his tyres up to temperature here. And Max Götz, who you're right on board with now, second best bit. You can see weaving around there, the Ferrari, trying to get the heat into the tyres. Max Götz is going to close up. His tyres are already up to temperature. So I think the gap, which was about 2.5 seconds before the pit stops, is going to be lower than it was. But Lawson's still the leading pit stopper, side by side again between Marco Wittmann and Vincent Abril. Again, he's trying to come around the outside. This time he does it. So Marco Wittmann through, but he goes deep into the corner. Vincent's trying to come back at him. Lucas Auer as well in the Mercedes gets a good run coming out of the turn. Argentini just ahead of them. Ahead of Wittmann, but trying to get back to Ellis. Marco Wittmann now, he's on the back foot. He's got his nose in front, but the right-hander coming up will favour Vincent Abril. The Mercedes has got the line, but Marco Wittmann won't give up the position easily. He has to in the end on the way out of the corner. So Mercedes getting ahead of the BMW. Fighting hard, though, isn't he? Marco Wittmann back down the inside he comes. All the way into turn 5. Runs a bit wide again, and so the Mercedes has another look up the inside. Great view here just behind, on board with Lucas Auer, still side by side. Terrific racing. No contact, they're giving each other just enough space here, but Wittmann again has his nose in front. Over the crest of the hill they come. The BMW is there, and now Lucas Auer tries to charge around the outside. Brave stuff as he comes around the outside of the penultimate corner through turn 10, and he's through. So Lucas Auer read that beautifully. He let them get on with it, hold each other up, and in the end, through he came. And now Vincent Abril has to go very defensive to keep Sheldon van der Linde behind him. Nose to tail there will be. Takes a tight line into turn 1. That might send him wide on the way out of the corner, and it might give Sheldon, the yellow and white Rover Racing BMW, the better run up the hill. He's starting to close now, but is he going to be close enough to have a stab down the inside under braking? He's also got to keep an eye on the mirrors with Max Book just behind. Oh, there's contact because van der Linde comes through from a length or so back, but he got the line, he got through. Vincent Abril on the back foot, might lose another place here to Max Book. The number 18 Muka Motorsport Mercedes shuts the door for now. Nose to tail there will go. Abril having to go super defensive, taking the tight line though. Sends you wide as Sheldon van der Linde goes off the road, just in front of them in the BMW, straight on. Now has he picked up some damage from that contact? Quite possibly so. It might just be a technical problem, but that is a car in trouble rather than the driver going off the road. And for the second race running, Sheldon van der Linde gets himself in a very strong position, and just as that happens, bad luck strikes. Alex Albon into the pits then, changing the Michelin tyres. AlphaTauri Ferrari released. 7.9 seconds, that's about 1.4 seconds slower than his teammates' pit stop.
ABS on if you switch it off.
So where is Alex Albon going to emerge? Behind Philip Ellis, and definitely behind Argentini. Those two have gone through. A yellow flag out where Sheldon van der Linde's car has come to a halt. So still getting up to speed here. Miney long since through. Wittmann is going to be alongside in the BMW. His tyres already up to temperature. And Marco Wittmann comes through as well. Alex Albon just behind, and you're on board with Lucas Auer now. He's having a pretty strong run. He's got well clear of Vincent Abril, having overtaken him with that spectacular move at the end of the previous lap. Abril, though, has settled in a little bit now, holding on to his position, keeping Max Book just behind. So Kelvin van der Linde and Timo Glock are the top two. They've yet to make their stops, though. And here's a replay of just a little stumble there from the mechanic as he tried to change the front left. There's a replay of that contact between van der Linde and Abril. A brave move from the South African. And shortly after that, the car goes straight on. Problem. couldn't get the car turned in. So, again, could be, as a result of that contact, damage to the car. His teammate, Timo Glock, has just come into the pits. I can see from the commentary box that second place in. And we've also got Kelvin van der Linde in. So the top two on the track now make their pit stops.
Go, 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 go.
Mr. Van Moot will pick up the lead for now. Mike Rockenfeller second, and Sophia Florsch will move up to third. Liam Lawson is the one to watch. He's already gone through. And Ellis, there's Arjun Maini. So the top three, next top three, are through. But he squeezes in to what, for now, will be a net fourth, I think. Net fourth place for Kelvin van der Linde. If he can keep the charging Marco Wittmann behind him. Because he's still getting the tyres up to temperature on the number 3 Abt Sportsline Audi. And you can see the gap coming right down once they get to the braking zone on the way into the right-hander at turn 3. Dev Gore coming through the pit lane, which is a penalty for pit lane speeding. So Dev Gore serving a drive-through penalty in the Rosberg Audi. As we see Marco Wittmann getting ever closer to the tail of the Audi, but he can't pass because there's double-waved yellows. Can't pass one van der Linde because of the stricken car of the other. So Marco Wittmann loses one opportunity to come through, but he won't give in. Remember, these drivers first and third in the championship. Van der Linde, his first season of DTM, looking to get his first title. Marco Wittmann looking to get his third championship crown. Audi moving around as the tyres just about getting up to temperature now. He'll have fresher tyres than Marco Wittmann at the end of the race, but he's got to try and keep him behind. So 4th and 5th, the net 4th and 5th we should be, with Alex Albon just behind, having had a good run through the pits as well. Despite not having the quickest pit stop, it was a pretty good one. Liam Lawson, though, fairly comfortably ahead as the net leader with Maxi Götz second. And van der Linde completes the lap, keeps the BMW behind. Alex Albon much closer, Lucas Sauer as well. Had a good run from the back of the field to 6th place at the Nürburgring, but also had a few incidents along that weekend. There's Daniel Angedea recovering from his fractured thumb, and just in the foreground of the shot, it was side by side as Wittmann had to go around the outside of the championship leader, goes wide, and Alex Albon now is invited to have a go in the Ferrari, but the door is closed before they get to the braking zone. So Wittmann again trying his luck around the outside here. He's brave, isn't he? But the German couldn't get through. Again, double-waved yellows as they go through turn 4 at Rauch, so you can't pass there. And then downhill, they descend all the way through the corner down towards 5. Here's a replay of that move then, which saw Marco Wittmann get his nose in front of Kelvin van der Linde. Kelvin had the inside lights. My right of way, you are not coming around the outside of me, mate, he says. You always feel like you've been mugged off if somebody passes you around the outside, and Kelvin was never going to let that happen. So the number 3 Audi stays clear, and just half a chance for Alex Albon to take advantage of that, but Wittmann was quick to react. So Muller has picked up the lead now, yet to be in the pits, Nico Muller, with Esteban Moot second, Mike Rockenfeller third, Sophia Florsch fourth. They're the 4 that haven't been in the pits, everybody else has been in. Dev Gore's been in twice because he served that drive-through penalty. Several drivers have picked up warnings for disrespecting track limits, so they're on warnings, they've got to be careful. So the leading pit stopper in 5th place is Liam Lawson. He's 1.8 seconds clear of Maxi Götz. Last lap around, they were very evenly matched in terms of pace. Philippe Ellis on the same sort of pace as well, 1 minute 30.3s for all 3 of them. Götz definitely about half a second, no, maybe 3/4 of a second closer than he was before the pit stops, but still under control here for Liam Lawson. So Lawson, the net leader, got second, Ellis third, Maini fourth, Kelvin van der Linde and Marco Wittmann next up with Alex Albon as well. So Lawson, Götz, Ellis, Maini fourth, 5th and 6th van der Linde and Wittmann. Wittmann trying to fend off Alex Albon as well, and Lucas Sauer be a net 8th. Long way to go in this race though, 33 minutes and 45 seconds plus 1 lap left on the clock. And Marco Wittmann's charge just beginning to fade at this phase of the race. Has found no answer to Kelvin van der Linde. But remember, the BMW is, unlike the Audi, carrying a bit of success ballast as well. Marco having finished third on the podium, 15 kilograms to take from the Nürburgring. The only advantage of that non-finish for Kelvin van der Linde after the contact with Liam Lawson at the Nürburgring was he didn't have any weight on the car for this one. Uphill then, into the braking zone for turn 1 they go. Hopping over the curb, skipping wide is the BMW, but the Ferrari of Alex Albon not quite close enough yet to take advantage. And with that very heavy car to take up the hill as well, with all the ballast on board, Alex Albon should be one to watch tomorrow if he sheds some of this success ballast, because he's looked good as well, particularly in the first free practice session yesterday. Lucas Au can't quite do anything about them. It's still nose to tail between Vincent Abril and the yellow number 5 HRT Mercedes, and just behind him Max Buch in the Muka Motorsports car, the German whose boss Peter Muka is racing with his son Stefan Muka, ex-DTM Racer Stefan Muka. They're both racing the ex-Klaus Ludwig Ford Capri, the Zach Speed Ford Capri, the former 3-time DTM champion in a DTM revival race this weekend. It's a busy weekend for Peter racing, looking after that side of the team and also overseeing the DTM side of things as you go on board with the number 3 Audi of Amp Sportsline racer and championship leader Kelvin van der Linde, the only driver to win more than 1 race so far this season. He's won 3 times at Monza, Zolder and the Nürburgring, but he has said that it's going to be harder to come by wins for the Audi in the second half of the year. So then, if you can't win, can't get on the podium, it's about picking up points as and when you can. Liam Lawson has got ahead of Sophia Florsch on the road, so 4th now as Esteban Moot fires one up the inside here, absolutely nip and tuck with the Audi of Nico Müller. This is for the lead of the race. They've yet to make their pit stops, but it's for important track position as they both try and get themselves into the points at the end of this race. Brave effort from the overtaker, but Nico Müller, 2-time runner-up in the championship, was wise to it and keeps the Team Rosberg Audi ahead just as they make their way through turn 4 at Rauch. Brave effort though it was. So the gap at the start of that was almost 4/10 of a second, so it must have been a really good run out of turn 1 for Esteban. He said to me yesterday, turn 1's the one that I found a bit tricky so far to get the balance of the car, but we've made some improvements. They are almost 3 seconds clear of Mike Rockenfeller, who's proven on more than one occasion this year that he's very good at looking after the tyres and can go long in the race, which is obviously the plan. There he is in the background. So he's looking to pick up some points from a lowly grid position as well. Replay from on board with Esteban. Last of the late breakers. He never quite got his nose in front. And there was the contact. Bit of a thud as the Lamborghini tried to go down the inside of the Audi. But in the end, Müller stayed ahead. And I'm afraid his Team Rosberg teammate, Dev Gorkins, is coming to the pits as well. And this time it might be permanently. So Dev Gore could be the first retirement from the race. But for now, at least on paper, Nico Müller leads. There is Dev Gore out of the car. So Dev Gore, a retirement, I'm afraid, on his return to the DTM, as Esteban Moot tries to go alongside his teammate. Not more in the inside this time, though. There's no opportunity to do so. Vincent Abril has picked up a black and white warning for disrespecting track limits. He's got to be careful for the rest of the race. And here we go, Esteban Moot, now the 19-year-old, trying to go around the outside on the way into turn 4, downhill braking, so the back of the car is light. Careful you don't lose it there. And Müller keeps him at bay. But all the time, they're allowing Mike Rockenfeller to get ever closer to them. They did mid-131s last time around. He did a 130.8, so Mike Rockenfeller is catching them up pretty rapidly. Esteban Moot sees a half chance now on the way into the left-hander at turn 5 through turn 6 and 7. Here they go, no chance there. And coming up into the final sector of the lap, the Audi just about scrambles clear. And Nico Müller on the back foot here a little bit after, again, a disappointing qualifying. Weekend started well, one of the quickest drivers in free practice 1, but lost that important running in free practice 2. Rosberg, sole remaining Audi, then goes over the line. There you can see the top 3 in the race yet to make their pit stops. The driver in 4th is the real leader, Liam Lawson. And Maxi Götz has got past Sophia Florsch as well, so they're 4th and 5th on the road now. And the gap between the 2 of them is 1.9 seconds virtually. And there's a despondent Sheldon van der Linde. What a shame. It seems to be just everything going against him at the moment. He's put in some terrific performances. He's battling hard. The 21-year-old must be thinking, what have I got to do? Every time I get up there, something goes wrong. So van der Linde, head down, helmet on, always a sign that the driver is wanting some time alone. Motorsports can really kick you in the teeth, can't it? No matter how good you are. And sometimes those runs of bad luck just seem to come all together. But when you get the highs, it more than makes up for it, and there'll be many more highs to come for Sheldon. He's a really talented driver. brother still battling away, Kelvin van der Linde. 1.2 seconds clear now of Marco Wittmann. So Lawson is the net leader, got second. Ellis is a net third, Miney a net fourth, Kelvin van der Linde a net fifth, which is pretty good from 8th on the grid. Marco Wittmann 6th, Albon 7th, Auer 8th, and Abril and Boot 9th and 10th. And where will Muller and Moot settle into that? 0.4 of a second between them. You're on board now with Max Götz. He's had a win and 2 seconds so far this season. Couple of fourth places at the Nürburgring to solidify his championship charge. And looking to take more points away from Kelvin van der Linde here as well. Arjun Maini is ahead of Mike Rockenfeller on the road, and got 27 minutes left on the clock. So Muller and Moot and Rockenfeller are definitely going long, very long in the race. In fact, he's ahead of Kelvin van der Linde, but not by much, is he? So it's Muller, Moot, Rockenfeller, then Lawson, Götz, Florsch 6th, Ellis 7th, and then Maini ahead of van der Linde in 8th and 9th, but only just. And Wittmann still under a bit of pressure here from Alex Albon. So Kelvin van der Linde suddenly finding a better pace as Alex Albon sweeps down the inside of Marco Wittmann. Good clean pass, and he's through. Double podium finisher in his Formula One career so far, and it is so far for Alex Albon. Expressed a real desire to get back in a race seat for Formula One, and that might well come to fruition, but we're very happy to have him in the DTM this year. He's pulled off some outstanding drives. The performance to the victory last time out was flawless from Alex. Great for him to get this opportunity to race this season while he remains reserve and development driver for Formula One team Red Bull Racing. Well, they can see the gap and how it's dwindled in recent laps between Arjun Maini and Kelvin van der Linde. Hovering now at about 0.3 of a second, but it was closer to a second only a few laps ago. Arjun, though, keeping him at bay for now. This is for a net 4th place once Muller, Moot and Rockenfeller make their pit stops. Now, number 3, Kelvin van der Linde, getting a decent run coming out of the final turn. He won't be able to pass into turn 1. He'll just try and sit tight to the Mercedes here and then get the better run out of the corner, up the hill, and maybe have a go into turn 3 at the hairpin. He's setting it up here, Kelvin van der Linde. He's right onto the tail of Arjun Maini. Both of them DTM debutants this season. Kelvin, a very experienced GT3 race, although Arjun's built up quite a bit of decent GT and sports car experience in recent years. Here comes Kelvin van der Linde down the inside. In fairness to Arjun Maini, a bit like Marco Wittmann and Alex Albon on the previous lap, there was respect given, and he knew that he couldn't defend that position, so Arjun let Kelvin go, and then opts to try and fight back through into the next corner. Gets a better run, coming downhill into turn 4. It's going to be nip and tuck here, but Kelvin van der Linde keeps ahead and cements the position, but runs a little bit wide onto the curbs. Arjun Maini will get a sense that there might be another opportunity here before the end of the lap. Kelvin van der Linde sits on the inside line, so the curbs are the only place to go for Arjun, but Kelvin now gets the position sorted. So that will be for a net 4th place. A warning for Nico Muller now for track limits. If I went through all the warnings that I'm seeing on the timing screen, you'd be terrified, because lots of them are getting warnings for track limits. Alex Albon's had one, Lucas Auer's had one, Esme Hawkey's had one, Marco Wittmann's had one. So they're all on warnings. And don't be surprised if 1 or 2 penalties start to appear. Philippe Ellis was running a bit wide coming out of turn 10 at the end of the lap there. The blue and white Team Winward machine, the ex-Audi TT champion, looking good. Replay of that move then. Textbook manoeuvre from Kelvin van der Linde. Arjun Maini, rather than hold himself up, thought, right, I can't do anything about it, I'll let him through, and then try and get him on the way out of the corner, which he almost did. The app team cheering on their man. He's going forward, he's making good progress in this race. As it stands, he could have gone from 8th to 4th. Alex Albon is also making progress, and there he goes at the inside of Arjun Maini. Goes a bit wide on the way out of the corner, though. Arjun will try and get back at him now, and Arjun will have the inside line when they get to the right-hander at turn 4. So the Mercedes in the better position here is slightly ahead as well. Alex Albon, is he going to concede the place? He inches forward as they slow the cars down. Arjun Maini just has to hit the apex, though. Not drift wide out of the corner, just a little bit wide though, but Alex Albon now coming back at him, will be on the outside line for the next braking zone into the left-hander at turn 6. Great racing this, the Indian driver's got the inside line, but he's under real pressure here from Alex Albon, who is having a big go to try and get that place. Not quite happening though. So for a net 5th and 6th, they battle along, and that brings then Marco Wittmann onto their case as well. Great battles that we're having out here. We got on board with Marco now, who tries to spring a move around the outside of Alex Albon. Whoa, the Ferrari just staying clear as they go through turn 9, downhill into turn 10. That gives a little bit of breathing space to Arjun Maini. Nico Müller and Esteban Muth have stayed out, so too Mike Rockenfeller. But they are, when they rejoin after their pit stops, going to be out of the top 10, those 3 drivers, I suspect. Because they are only 19 seconds ahead of 10th place on the road, which at the moment is Alex Albon. So there, this spectacular backdrop. We see racing continuing here at the Red Bull Ring. This for the lead of the race between 2 of the drivers yet to make their stops. Esteban Muth versus Nico Müller, having fun here. I'm not sure Nico Müller's having much fun because he's watching the mirrors more than he's watching what's ahead of him, trying to keep this young charge behind the Belgian driver, trying everything. The T3 Motorsport Lamborghini can't quite squeeze past the Audi. He's had a couple of goes, one big go in particular. Müller just putting the car in the right place at the moment, the Swiss driver. And there, Mike Rockenfeller still inching up towards the back of them in one of the 3 Abt Sportsline Audis. Sophia Florsch in the other team car running in the number 99 machine in 6th place at the moment, but again, she's yet to make a pit stop. 21.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go in the race. Liam Lawson 1.2 seconds ahead of Maxi Götz. So Götz is catching Liam Lawson. Not at a huge pace, but he is closing that gap. Over the last 4 or 5 laps, it's come down by over half a second. There they are. Now you can see that net first and net second, the gap coming down and down and down. Liam Lawson is not going to win this at a canter. He's going to have to fight for it. Max Götz is coming after him slowly but surely, if you can be slow in a DTM car. So they battle away. Arjun Maini just about fends off Alex Albon. He probably wasn't trying to get through at turn 1. He's probably trying to set the move up going into turn 3, but Arjun knows what's coming. He knows exactly what's coming, so he's got to sit on the inside line. Trouble is, tight into the corner, wide out of the corner. That gets you into trouble here. Scrambles back into the middle of the track and does a good job of that, Arjun Maini. Didn't over-defend, so he got a good exit from the corner in the end to keep next Formula 1 driver behind him. And Esteban Muth gets ahead of Nico Müller at last after knocking on the door and knocking on the door and knocking on the door. He wouldn't go away, and now finally he gets in front. So let's see what he's got left in the tyres now, if he can pull away from Nico. They're aiming just to try and get into the lower end of the top 10, these two, once they've made their pit stops. Mike Rockenfeller likewise. Those 3 come through. And this was how it happened. Just a slight, it wasn't massively wide, was he, Nico Müller? Just slightly wide and onto the curbs. That was all he needed, though. The only invite he needed for Esteban Muth to come through. You don't need to ask him twice. He sees a gap, he goes for it. And that was a nicely done manoeuvre through turn 4. So Muth's the new on-the-road leader. Müller second, but this is the battle we really want to keep an eye on. 4th and 5th on the road, net 1st and 2nd. On board with Kelvin van der Linde as well. Could he get a podium finish out of this? From 8th on the grid, with an unfancied car. Remember, he saved some tyres as well by not going out for the second half of qualifying. Smart thinking from a smart driver. Don't win GT Masters Championships and Nürburgring 24-hour races without having a smart brain. Sophia Florsch goes out wide to let them through in the end and just about rejoins, but got Arjun Maini and Alex Albon through. Marco Wittmann, I think, will squeeze through. Yes, he will. A bit harder for Marco to get through, though, and he might lose a bit of ground as a result of that. Here comes Alex Albon once again, then, on the way into after turn 4. Through he goes. Does he go wide, though, on the way out of the turn? Yes, he does. With that downhill braking zone catching at the Ferrari, all the weight on the car, making it understeer as well. And so Maini back through immediately, but now he scrambles to stay on the racing line under braking. Remember, they pitted relatively early, so tyres are going to start to degrade. The tyres compound's a medium-type compound from Michelin. It's designed to have some degradation to bring strategy into play in these fairly long DTM races. Right, Philip Ellis in the blue and white 57 Team Windward Mercedes. His teammates Lucas Houring a decent run as well, the Austrian, but this is for a net 3rd. Still just about keeping Kelvin van der Linde behind him. They're 6th and 7th on the road now. after Sophia Florsch went wide. Sophia still to make her pit stop as well. Comes across the line now, down in 11th place, just behind Marco Wittmann. So Moot, Muller and Rockefeller are the top three. Lawson in 4th place, 1.3 seconds clear of Max Götz, who responds on that lap and pulls away by 1/10 of a second. Max Götz is 9.8 seconds clear of the battle for third between Ellis, as we get Alex Albon right down the inside, way out wide though, all the way off the road. Arjumai's surely going to get back through. Yes, he is. Brave effort, but Alex Albon just couldn't get the car slowed down. So right off the road he goes. Arjumai's had a warning for track limits. I think Alex has already had one as well. So again, he's got to be careful here. Marco Wittmann also has had a warning. He's back onto the tail of them in the BMW. So Arjumai looking for his best result in the DTM. 10th last time out at the Nürburgring. Got 2 points because Lucas Stoltz was one of the drivers ahead of him, a guest driver who didn't score championship points. And he picked up another point this morning for qualifying in 3rd place. So 3 points to his name so far. Replay of that move from Marco Wittmann's perspective. It was way out wide. Last of the late breakers. Just couldn't get the car slowed down. And again, not helped, I think, by the fact it's got this success ballast on board the Ferrari, which makes it very difficult to slow down. The car will get more and more sloppy as that weight has its effect on the tyres as well. Right, Philip Ellis versus Kelvin van der Linde on the way into turn 1. 6th and 7th on the road, but it's for a potential podium finish, this, for Kelvin van der Linde. If he can get a podium, it will be his 5th of the season. He's had 4 so far, 3 of which have been race wins. That'll be a very pleasing result for Kelvin and for the team if he can get this. I think he'd be pretty satisfied with 4th, but 3rd would be a real bonus. Here we go again, Alex Albon, this time mid-corner, and there's contact with Arjumai, who's forced out wide. This is roll your sleeves up stuff now. Arjumai's going to have to dig his heels in here. He's going to be on the outside line. Albon has forced the inside line. He's got to make him brake as late as possible to try and send the Ferrari deep into the corner and then tuck back on the way out of the turn. Albon, though, has got the car slowed down and gets the position. Great battle that's lasted a number of laps, and for now, Alex Albon gets clear, but here comes Arjumai trying to dart back around the outside like an angry wasp in that car. He's hovering this way and that, but Alex Albon keeps him at bay. Great driving from both of them, really entertaining stuff. Marco Wittmann opting not to quite get involved in this, just behind the BMW, and replay of what? Of the move. I thought we were going to see something between Ellis and van der Linde then, but it was just as they came through shot, this incident, this slight contact from a different angle that we had between Harney and Albon. Push on, says Kelvin van der Linde. Go, I'm going to follow you. Yes, not quite on the tail now, is he, of Philip Ellis? Might be worried about what's coming if Alex Albon can get his head down as well. And finally got past Arjumai, so interesting stuff. Liam Lawson would be very happy if his teammate Alex Albon could take a position of some points away from Kelvin van der Linde. 14 3/4 minutes left on the clock. You go back on board with Kelvin, who's very good on the brakes in the Audi on the way into turn 3.
Copy, 12.
12 laps to go.
Albon's pace is too fast. I need to attack Ellis, just to keep me updated.
Copy, I will update the gap.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Kelvin is now started to be a bit concerned about what's coming from behind, i.e. Alex Albon. His pace is too good. I've got to get past Ellis now, he said. It's a long way back at the moment, but we'll see what the lap times are like. 2.5 seconds, the gap between Kelvin van der Linde and Alex Albon at the start of the lap for what will be, well, this is a battle for net 3rd. So Alex Albon's a net 5th currently. Through the first sector. Van der Linde 22.8, Albon 22.7. Through the second sector, Albon was a few thousandths slower. So it's not really catching on this lap. If anything, Van der Linde might be pulling away. And there's poor Sheldon van der Linde. Got his thoughts together now, got back to the pits, got the helmet off, but the disappointment is going to last until tomorrow. All he can keep doing is doing what he's doing, really, which is a good job. And the luck will eventually come. Now, Liam Lawson down the inside of Mike Rockefeller, so that moves him up to 3rd on the track. Mikey's not really racing against him because they're on different pit stop strategies here. But it's important to get that car between himself and Max Götz, who he's really racing against here in the pink number 4 Mercedes, the HRT run car. It's 550 plus brake horsepower. Ferrari, the net leader, third on the track now, with Nico Müller about 4 seconds ahead of him. So clear track. The gap between Lawson and Götz, 1.2 seconds, so it's stayed roughly the same for the last, what, 4 or 5 laps, having come down quite considerably for a couple of laps. Lawson has steadied the flow for now. Keeps the Red Bull AlphaTauri out of course up Ferrari in the net lead. Esteban Moot has absolutely left Nico Müller for dead now, having finally got past him. So he's your race leader, 3.4 seconds clear. And pace is good, 1 minute 30.5. Not many drivers on the track quicker than Esteban Moot at the moment, which is impressive given the 19-year-old is on tyres which have done 28 laps of the race now. And a 1 minute 30.5 on that lap for Esteban. His best is 1 minute 30.3. So you've got set up good on that car to keep the tyres in such good shape, despite having that pretty ferocious battle with Nico Müller. So it's good driving from Esteban. He's more than 4 seconds clear of Nico now. There in the number 51 team, Rosberg Audi, second on the road. Liam Lawson, third on the road, is the real race leader. Then you got Mike Rockenfeller. Now, Mike Rockenfeller, remember who he drives for, Abt Sportsline. Remember who Kelvin van der Linde drives for, Abt Sportsline. He's got a job to do here to try and keep Max Götz, who is Kelvin's nearest rival in the points, behind him for as long as possible. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, because the driver ahead of Mike Rockenfeller is Liam Lawson. But Liam further away in terms of points. He's absolutely a championship contender, though. But Mike Rockenfeller do what he can to hold Max Götz up. Max is well clear of the battle for a net third place. However, the longer Mike Rockenfeller can keep him at bay, the less chance Max has got of winning the race. And from Kelvin van der Linde's point of view, 18 points for second for Götz is much better than 25 for getting the win. So a role to be played here for the 2013 champion, former Le Mans winner, Mike Rockenfeller. We're on board now with, as Esteban Moot comes into the pits, that was the view of Liam Lawson pushing on, trying to get past Nico Müller. They've just gone past the start-finish line. And into the pits then, Esteban Moot. His pace was good. Tyres weren't dropping off, but of course new tyres even better, so you've got to get some use out of them. But I fancy he's going to be somewhere in the midfield and out of the top 10 when he rejoins. Not a great pit stop either, is it? So that's worse as well. We spent all that time trying to pull... So it's switched off. Oh dear. That's a real shame. 11.3 seconds in the pit stop. Lost 5 seconds really in that pit stop, or 4 seconds. And you spend all this time trying to get a few tenths of a second back on the track, and then you lose 4 seconds in your pit stop. Timo Glock coming through the shot just ahead of Daniel Hankadea. 15th and 16th as they cross the start-finish line. Liam Lawson still hasn't found a way past Nico Müller. However, Max Götz, I don't think has found a way past Mike Rockenfeller yet, so still has this cushion, but he'll want to get past the Audi as quick as he can. But again, remember, Nico Müller hasn't got to wave him through. This is for track position, is not a back marker in all of this. He's going to stay out very late, isn't he, Nico? Somebody else who's very good at looking after the tyres. His last lap was a 1:31.2 though, which was not great. His best lap's a 1:30.4. So Abt Sportsline, watch on. What can Kelvin get out of this? What's the gap from van der Linde to Albon? It is 1.2 seconds. Last lap, a 1:30.7 for van der Linde. Half a second quicker for Alex Albon. It's taken a lot of time out of him on that lap. So lots going on for the Abt Sportsline drivers. Right, here we go. Max Götz firing it around the outside of Mike Rockenfeller. And finally, he gets through. So now he can see the net leader, Liam Lawson, just ahead. Götz has got the pace here to keep the pressure up for the last 8 3/4 minutes plus 1 lap of the race. Lawson will see that pink Mercedes in the mirrors, and he will become even more determined to try and find a way past Nico Müller. So first, second, third and fourth in your shot, but first and fourth yet to make their pit stops. Here we go, Liam Lawson showing his nose. Come on, move over, he says, let me through. Can't sit behind you. I've got Max Götz coming after me in the mirrors. This is for a race win, a race win that Liam Lawson really needs, really wants after his performances so far. Top of the stack in Free practice 2, top of the pile in qualifying by a long way after a brilliant lap. Long run pace has been good, managing things, but definitely a sense of pressure here. And finally, Nico Müller peels off for the pits. So Lawson will pick up the lead of the race. Won't have to sit behind the Audi any longer, and that will be a huge, huge relief to him. Rockenfeller stays out, so he'll be third for now still. Esteban Moot rejoined in 17th place, so well outside the points, I'm afraid, despite leading the race for a while and looking after the tyres well. But he'll go on the attack, see what he can get out of it. Müller is going to rejoin somewhere in and around that as well, or not. Not going to finish the race. So that's it for Müller. He is out, heading back for the garage. Right. The season of disappointment continues. If you'd said to me halfway through the championship, Nico Müller will be in 9th and will only have one podium finish at the start of the season, I'd have been very surprised. But it's just not working out, I'm afraid, after a really good couple of seasons for Nico Müller. It's been a tough 2021 so far. Right, Alex Albon has caught up now pretty much to the tail of Kelvin van der Linde and goes down the inside. Great move under braking into turn 4, runs wide. Kelvin van der Linde gets him back. So this, a real battle. This is for 4th place, just ahead of them. For 3rd, once the pit stops are resolved and once Mike Rockenfeller has been in, is Philip Ellis. Alex Albon can sense a podium here. And Kelvin van der Linde, who was attacking Philip Ellis for a few laps, now more concerned with trying to hold on to 4th position. Alex Albon thinks, if I can get 4th, I can get 3rd. Because if I can get past the South African, I can also close up pretty quickly to Philip Ellis. He's the quicker of the 3 at the moment. There is no doubt about it. He's got enough time, though. Great effort, this. It shows how quick he's going with all that ballast on board as well. What about 1st to 2nd, though? They go through. Lawson on that lap, 130.9, 130.8 for Götz. The gap down to less than a second, 0.8 seconds. Both these drivers looking for their 2nd DTM race victories. Götz with way more GT experience than Lawson. Many more years under his belt, more years in DTM. But Lawson, a real find for the future. Philip Ellis coming through your shot in a net 3rd place ahead of Kelvin van der Linde. He's a bit closer to him this time. He's very good on the brakes at the top of the hill, Kelvin. He's pulled back away from the Ferrari. In the background, Arjun Maini versus Marco Wittmann is still a thing. 7th and 8th on the road, but it will be for 6th place ultimately. It's been a really good drive this so far from Arjun. He's dug in and fought, but he's also been sensible about conceding positions when he knew he was on the back foot, going in particular into the hairpin a couple of times. Live to fight another day, pick up the finish, pick up the points. Been smart driving from Arjun, the 23-year-old Indian driver, and he's keeping Marco Wittmann, a double champion, at bay, which is impressive. Right, Philip Ellis thought he might have got away with this for the rest of the race. He thought, actually, this is good news for me. Kelvin van der Linde's going to be busy fending off Alex Albon. I can get a podium out of this, but suddenly the tails have turned again the last lap and a half, and Kelvin van der Linde has been spurred on. Can he get silverware out of this race? 3rd place is worth 15 points rather than 12 points for 4th place. Every point counts, but there's always a risk in overtaking. Do you risk your 4th place and have an off? If he runs wide, he's likely going to lose a place to Alex Albon just behind. He's also a big championship rival of his. Kelvin van der Linde under control at the moment. There's Arjun Maini, still about a length or so clear of Marco Wittmann. 4 minutes and change remaining, plus the 1 lap at the end of the time. Oh, Philip Ellis coming under attack. Alex Albon down the inside as van der Linde tried the outside line there, left the door open, and it's been split now by the Ferrari. So in trying to get past Philip Ellis's Mercedes around the outside, he just left the door slightly ajar, and Alex Albon was in there. No hesitation whatsoever, and a good move from Alex to get through into what's going to be a net 4th place. Now, can he get a podium out of this? Look how quickly Philip Ellis has pulled away from them just in that couple of corners. So here's van der Linde. In fact, he wasn't really trying to have a go. He was just braking late again, but super late on the brakes was Alex Albon. I think he probably just outbraked himself a bit there, Kelvin van der Linde. Didn't mean to go so wide into the corners. A nudge on the way out of the turn. Left rear corner of the Ferrari gets another knock. Thomas Voigt there. It's after all the media and the black shirt for Outsports Line discussing that incident with the team. Sophia Florsch still hasn't been in the pits yet. Has she? No, she hasn't. The only one yet to come in. Right, Lawson and Götz, the gap nearly a second that time through. It's grown ever so slightly. Through they come. Rockenfeller still in third place. The other one that hasn't been in the pits yet. Almost be at the end of the race when he comes in. I think fear it's not going to be fair any points. Muller and Gore and Sheldon van der Linde, the three drivers that have dropped out of the running. We've still got 17 cars remaining in the race. Kelvin van der Linde trying to fight back. Ellis, 0.9 of a second clear of Albon. Albon just clear of van der Linde, who he passed on the previous lap up at the hairpin. On board with the race leader, Liam Lawson is just about controlling this, but Max Götz is making him work hard. Mike Rockenfeller third, but yet to make his stop. Big wait then till we get the next group of Philip Ellis, Alex Albon and Kelvin van der Linde. Arjun Mainy's getting a bit closer to the tail of Kelvin as well. That lap, Arjun Mainy, the last lap, did a 130.6, a 131.9 for Kelvin. Slowest driver in the top 7 at the moment, Kelvin van der Linde. I know he had to give way to Alex Albon, but still it's a bit of a worry this, with Arjun Mainy coming at him in these closing stages. He might have to be defensive for the rest of the race. Crossing the line then with 1 minute and 42 seconds left on the clock. So it's 1 minute and 29, 1 minute and 30 to get around. So there's going to be 3 more laps of this race, I reckon. Still, Mike Rockenfeller elects to stay on track and not pit. So the gap from first to second, 0.8 of a second. That lap, 130.7 for Lawson, a 130.6 for Götz. All you can do is keep the pressure up as the chasing driver. Try and force your opponent into a mistake. It's always, in a sense, a little bit easier as well, because you've got a target to aim for as the driver in second place. Don't brake till the driver ahead brakes. Get on the power before they get on the power. You've got something to drag you around. For Lawson, it'll be a bit harder work this at the front of the field, but it's where he wants to be. It's where he needs to stay. Philip Ellis looking for what will be a third podium of the season. He's had a win at Lausitzring, the second at the Nürburgring. He too had a DNF in race 2 at the Nürburgring though. 6th in the championship. And desperate to try and keep Alex Albon behind him. 10 points between those two drivers coming into this race. Alex Albon 5th, Philip Ellis 6th in the championship. 10 points the gap between them. Through comes Lawson, through comes Götz, and through the first sector, Götz was a 10th quicker, but through the middle sector, the longer sector, Lawson was the quicker of the two by almost 2 tenths. So the gap's going to be about the same at the end of the lap. Depends what happens through these last couple of corners. It looks about the same. It was 0.8 seconds. Let's see. Over the line they go. 9 seconds left on the clock, so time will run out on this lap, plus 1 lap at the end of it. 2 laps to go. And the gap, 0.9 of a second. So Lawson just edged away, flashing the lights. That old trick from Max Götz now, trying to catch the attention of Liam Lawson, just trying to distract him. I'm here. You haven't got this race won yet, says Max Götz, but the Bavarian has done a really good job of keeping the pressure up. They're so far clear of the rest, it's unbelievable. Philip Ellis, who's a net third, he's nearly 12 seconds behind. So good effort this by Max Götz to try and keep up with the rapid Liam Lawson, which he's done. Sophia Florsch finally comes in to make her pit stop in the third at Sportsline Audi. The other one yet to make the stop is her teammate Mike Rockenfeller. He's got to come in soon because the race is almost over with a lap and a half to go. So there's Florsch having her stop. Not going to be points in this race. Pretty good stop, it seems. Away she goes. So Liam Lawson's just got to keep it on the road here. Don't make a mistake. A slight mistake, and Götz is going to be on him. That's why Götz is keeping the pressure up. But Lawson doing well here. Hasn't put a foot wrong so far this weekend, as far as I can see. Good job from him, really good job. See how he gets on in F2 next weekend as well, which has been very impressive in as well. A bit wide there. Not quite as wide was Max Götz. But it just shows the commitment that Liam Lawson has coming out of the final corner to go onto the final lap of the race with his advantage just under 9 tenths of a second. Götz still in the mirrors. Finally, Mike Rockenfeller, as he has to now, comes into the pits to make his stop. So Philip Ellis comes through in third with Alex Albon, though, very close to him as they came past the commentary box. Just 2 tenths of a second between them for the final place on the podium. On the final lap of the race, that's going to be a real battle. It's not quite nose to tail between the top two as they come into the braking zone at the top of the hill through turn 3. exit crucial there as well. But here is the battle for the final place on the podium between Philippe Ellis and Alex Albon, who's pulled off some great moves so far in this race. The inside line is covered. He's halfway alongside the Mercedes here. No quarter given, though, by the Swiss driver, but now he will have to really defend all the way into turn 4. Kelvin van der Linde watching from just behind in the championship leading car, weaving this way then that. Alex Albon flinging everything at this to try and get himself up onto the podium, putting the pressure on, sending the Mercedes deep into the corner. Here he goes, Alex Albon on the last lap of the race, trying to get into third place. He's got his nose in front, but he's on the outside line for the left-hander at turn 6, and he goes a bit wide, and Philippe Ellis creeps back down the inside line. Kelvin van der Linde getting close to the tail of them as well. Third, fourth and fifth together. Van der Linde looks down the inside of Albon. There's contact. Albon is sent out wide. Van der Linde still trying to get through. He hasn't, but otherwise it's the final run now to the checkered flag for Liam Lawson, who's going to pick up his second win of the season. 25 beautiful points for Liam Lawson.
Yeah, excellent job, excellent job. That's back where we belong. P1. Congratulations, mate.
Götz comes home in second, and third place,
yes, guys,
over the line for
really
Philippe Ellis.
That was really nice. I lost the race quite early on, but it stayed stable from there, but man, that was close.
What a finish that was. Albon scrambles it across the line in fourth, van der Linde in fifth. Maini, a season's best, sixth place. Terrific drive from Arjun Maini. Seventh place, Marco Wittmann. 8th for Lucas Auer, 9th for Vincent Abril, and Timo Glock, having scored no points in the first 7 races of the season, has now had 2 back-to-back points finishing races. Timo Glock comes home in 10th place, with Daniel Haggerday 11th, Max Mook 12th, Maximilian Paul 13th on his debut, Esteban Mutu led mid-race 14th, Mike Rockenfeller finished 15th in the end after that, well, after doing most of the race on one set of tyres.
Too fast pit stop basically. Good job to the team.
Esme Hawkey 16th, Sophia Flores
Okay, so the other
17th.
work? It was better compared to Ferrari. Nothing to do. They were really playing. Albon with 25 kilos of ballast was faster than Lawson. So for sure they have 4 tenths in the pocket, I guess, something like that.
Indeed, as I said, Alex Albon's going to be one to watch tomorrow, isn't he? Once he gets rid of the success ballast. Having finished 4th, he won't have any ballast for the race tomorrow. He had 25 kilograms on board today, so a much lighter car for Alex tomorrow. And he almost got on the podium with the heavy car. His teammate, though, it is that gets the win. 25 points coming his way. 18 points for Max Götz, 15 for Ellis, 12 for Albon, and 10 championship points for Kelvin van der Linde in 5th place. So Liam Lawson closes the gap by 15 points altogether today. He's taken 18 points away from Kelvin van der Linde because he got those championship points for qualifying on pole position as well. So getting himself back in the hunt now. He needs to keep it up. He'll need probably more wins and more podiums this season. But it's a real step in the right direction. Back where we belong, they say. And certainly he's going to be back on the top step of the podium from pole position. But it was no easy race, was it? Max Götz really made him work for it. And it's another terrific effort from Götz. From his last 4 races now, Max has had 2 seconds and 2 fourths. You get the odd win, the odd podium, you keep getting top 4, top 5 finishes, you're in a real chance for the championship, which is why Max Götz is second. So he'll get 18 points, 8 more than Kelvin van der Linde. So he's going to get the gap down to, what, 23 points now at the top of the table. Good job by Max Götz today as well. And for Philippe Ellis, well, it'll show the results that he got 3rd place by 1.3 seconds in the end, but it was far from easy. There are the updated provisional points then. Kelvin van der Linde, 139 points. Max Götz, 116, 23 behind. Liam Lawson has gone from 5th to 3rd in the championship today. He's on 108 points now. Marco Wittmann, 100 in 4th. Alex Albon in 5th with 94. Philippe Ellis, 6th with 87 points. And there you can see beautiful conditions here. It's around about 22 degrees now. The track temperature has shot up compared to qualifying. It's over 40 degrees, and it'll be very hot in the cockpit of those cars as well. Max Götz thuds the roof of his Mercedes. Very happy with the job the car has done. And great respect between 2 of the championship contenders this year, Max Götz and Liam Lawson. Philippe Ellis just pulling in the background behind, having done a fine job as well. Team Winward having a pretty good race there with Lucas Auer in 8th place in his home race as well. The drivers discuss the race. Max Götz will have to keep working hard. Tomorrow, Liam Lawson will carry 25 kilograms of ballast on the car. Max Götz 18 and Philipp Ellis 15. So no 2 days are the same in DTM, and that contributes to these different race results that we get on each day. Not very often a driver gets 2 podium finishes out of a weekend. Not even Kelvin van der Linde has had 2 podiums over a weekend. This was the moment, big moment, as Albon had a go at Ellis. Then on the back foot, had Kelvin van der Linde sliding up the inside of him. Contact. It's a bit of bodywork missing off that Ferrari from various incidents in this race. And if either of them had come off there, that would have been a huge talking point, because they are 2 big championship contenders. They just about got away with it. Liam Lawson then congratulated by the team. Amato Ferrari's AF Corsa team done a superb job. This is a team sport. Driver does a brilliant job. They're the stars of the show, but without the team, they can't do all of this. There's Philipp Ellis. You can see it's been hot in the car. It's around about 20 degrees hotter inside the cockpit than the ambient temperatures. It'll be well over 40 degrees in the cockpit of the car. Plus you're wearing all these fireproof layers, helmets, gloves, and so forth. Plenty of energy, though, left for Liam Lawson to sprint up to the team at the end of the race. Thank you, he says. And you can almost hear them all collectively breathing a sigh of relief after a bad run for the last couple of rounds of the championship and some bad luck. Liam Lawson is very much back in the mix. So the fanfare plays. The circuit commentator sparks up. Quick chance for a breather, a swig of water, or of course a slurp of Red Bull if you're Liam Lawson, before we get the podium ceremony underway. Got a couple of special guests as well for the podium presentation, and to hand the trophies out. So here we go then, called up in reverse order. 3rd place for Philipp Ellis. His trophy is going to be presented by Rebecca Doschebauer when he gets it, and she's won a competition to do that with our Austrian radio show. Max Götz comes home in 2nd. Sebastian Ogier, World Rally legend, is going to present his trophy. And ex-Grand Prix racer Marc Surer will present the trophy to the race winner. We've got the winning team as well. And that, of course, is AF Corsa. Andrea Guidotti, who's the technical director for AF Corsa, will take the plaudits there. So he gets to stand on the team podium. But here, the biggest cheer of all for Liam Lawson, winner of round 9, DTM 2021. So the drivers and Andrea Guidotti on the podium. And now it is time for the New Zealand national anthem. A hugely proud moment for Liam Lawson. His national anthem plays out here in Austria. It's another race victory. His 2nd in what's only, remember, his 5th weekend racing in DTM. So Rebecca Doschebauer, who is a competition winner, presents the trophy and gets to meet all the drivers. So fantastic competition winner there. But now we'll welcome on to the podium to present the 2nd place trophy, none other than Sebastian Ogier, the 7-time World Rally champion, 53 victories, 6 consecutive titles. He's second only to Sebastian Loeb in terms of his record, a 9-time champion. There are only 2 drivers to win the World Rally Championship with 3 different manufacturers as well. So Sebastian Ogier presents 2nd place trophy to Maxi Götz. And Marc Surer, ex-Formula 1 racer, who's also competing this weekend in the DTM Revival races, presents the winners' team's trophy to AF Corsa and Andrea Guidotti, Austria, an 88-time Formula One Grand Prix starter in the late 1970s and all the way through the 1980s. And Mark, who raced for Arrows and Brabham, amongst other teams, now presents the winner's trophy. The real version of that Red Bull in the centre of the circuit here is 15 metres tall. Great replica of that. Really interesting trophies on a really interesting racetrack. It's a good race, that. Liam Lawson controlled it, but it was, as I say, under quite a bit of pressure in the second half of the race from Maxi Götz. He did all he could there and bags another podium finish. It's 4 podiums now for Maxi Götz, which equals the number of podiums that both Kelvin van der Linde has got. Liam Lawson has now got more podiums than anybody else with 5. And he's got 2 race wins to his name. Throws away the cap, gets the champagne open. He's beaten to it, though, by Philip Ellis. I noticed Andrea Guidotti has run off and hidden behind the board of the podium so he doesn't get wet and keeps his champagne. So Liam Lawson sprays the successful champagne over the team, over the media that have gathered there. It's all smiles. Great respect between these drivers. They clink bottles, they take a swig of well-earned fizzy, and they'll revel in the moment. They'll have their media duties. They'll smile, they'll celebrate, and then they'll reset for another go at this tomorrow with qualifying 2 to come in the morning and race 2, of course, tomorrow as well. So great celebrations down there on the podium. Liam Lawson, the winner. Maxi Götz second, Philip Ellis third. Alex Albon with a great entertaining race coming home in 4th place. Contact between him and Kelvin van der Linde on that last lap of the race is going to be looked at by the stewards. It's been referred to the stewards. They'll look at it. But in the end, they both got away with it. And Arjun Maini, terrific drive through to 6th place. More points he has bagged now in the championship as he begins to climb the table. He'll pick up 8 points for that 6th place, with Marco Wittmann, Lucas Auer, Vincent Labrel and Timo Glock all in the points as well. But we can hear from some of our podium finishers now, down with Verena.
I'm here with Maxi Götz from P2 to P2, so congratulations. It's your 4th podium, so you happy?
Yes, so I started from 2. I survived the first lap, which was okay. I was better than expected, to be honest. So there's going to be more trouble, but I had a good start behind Liesman. So the first row is always a bit an advantage. So I reacted on him, and then I was controlling the pace till the stop because I didn't want to have a puncture or something, because with cold tires it's always difficult. And then we had a mega stop again. The Haupt Racing team did a mega job. And then in the end, we came a bit closer in the end together because there were some lapping cars which were not in the pits yet. So in the end it was exciting, and I was catching up. But of course, if you see lap times from Ferrari, I think they are still really strong and hard to beat.
I was just going to say, you did say it in the very beginning also, that you're probably not going to be able to pick up the speed there. But 2nd place, you're happy with, you tried your best, and looking forward to tomorrow, I guess.
Yes, of course. I don't know where Kelvin ended up, but I think I could catch some points from him, and in the end we were very competitive today as a Mercedes, as a team, and to be the best Mercedes is also a really, really cool feeling.
And also the points are shrinking to the leader, who is Kelvin, right? So you picked up good points there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Liam was winning today, so in the end it's going to be even more tight. And yeah, let's see tomorrow. But this is now the target, to be in the points on the podium. It's nice to celebrate with my fans now. So it's going to be really cool.
All right, thank you so much, Maxi. I'm going to try to grab one of the others, but they're all still Philip. I'll try to grab Philip here. So, sorry for screaming into the microphone. Philip Ellis here from P5 to P3. So congratulations. I guess you're happy you made up some positions there.
Yeah, definitely happy. I have to say, not too happy with the very first thing. It was a bit unlucky, I think, because I was up to P3 after turn 3. And then I don't know what it was really. I didn't really see it, what happened. That we had contact after turn 4. So I lost the position again to Arjun. But, you know, all in all, the guys did a mega pit stop, put me back in front of him, and then was basically trying to survive against Kelvin and Alex, actually. I was going to say Liam, but he was gone.
He was gone. I was just going to say he was unbeatable all the way in the front. But the duel was actually pretty interesting, and I guess, did you get a little bit nervous at that point, maybe losing that position?
Sure, I saw how fast Kelvin was catching up to Arjun and how fast he got by him. So I was just, praying that his tires would let go, but they didn't really. And I guess it was good that we went for all the top speed we could on the setup, so it basically saved me today. Maybe it won't tomorrow, but I think we have some things to improve for tomorrow, so maybe we can attack to the front as well.
All right, but all in general, the atmosphere here with the fans everywhere is fantastic.
Yeah, it's
right?
great. It's nice to be, back to normality. So it's a nice atmosphere. You hear them on the pre-grid, you hear the fans, you see them cheering when you go through turn 1. So it's great.
All right, Philip. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And here's your commentator.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, great effort again by Philip Ellis. Remember, it's his first season in DTM as well. He's doing a superb job. Good job by the team as well. You heard from him. You heard from Maxi Götz. Got a big cheer in the background during Philip's interview as the team dragged him over. So things going very well indeed for Max. Mercedes haven't won at this venue since 2003. It's been a long, barren spell for Mercedes and victory here at the Red Bull Ring. It was the 16th DTM race at this circuit. So Maxi Götz or somebody else can get a Mercedes on the top step tomorrow. That will have extra special meaning. First victory, of course, for Ferrari, who are new to DTM here at the Red Bull Ring as well. Audi have the best record here, but the best placed Audi in the race was Kelvin van der Linde, who at one point we thought might go for third place. He was very much late on in the race on the tail of Philip Ellis. In the end, he lost the position to Alex Albon late in the race, and then tried to get it back on Alex on that final corner when Alex had run a little bit wide. A great battle it was. A great race victory, though, for Liam Lawson. Join us live for coverage of qualifying 2 and race 2 tomorrow. That's it from me, Chris Hart, in the commentary box. And for the final time, let's hand back to Verena down in the pit lane.
From pole position to victory, Liam Lawson, it's your second win in this season. Congratulations. And according to Maxi, he just couldn't catch up with you. But you said you were getting a tiny little bit nervous because you had the feeling he was catching up.
Wait. You look at the numbers because he caught me a lot. The gap at the start, we opened it up. We had a good first stint, but we wanted to push the first stint with and do a shorter run, so try and open the gap. But after the stop, it was quite even for a bit. But actually, Maxi closed in on me a lot towards the end, especially when we got the traffic trying to overtake. Even when you have a pace advantage with the long corners, is quite tough.
Under attack here.
Yeah, I hate this.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, towards the end, he actually got the gap down to less than a second from over 2. So I don't know why he says no chance. I thought he was going to get even closer towards the end. But so tomorrow's going to be tough. We both have weights. I have a little bit more weight. So yeah, tomorrow's definitely going to be tougher than today.
But looking forward to it, I guess. Also, we're going to have probably good sunshine. We have the fans here, so I guess you're looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, it's nice. I love the atmosphere here, especially being in the Red Bull car around this place is pretty epic. And the support around the fans is awesome. Also now in the paddock, having everybody come around, meeting new people is yeah, a lot of fun.
And out of curiosity, the trophy looks really heavy. Is it heavy?
It's actually not as heavy. When he rang it to me, I was getting ready to really lift it, but it's like a hollow. I think it's quite hollow, the wood, so it's not that bad. But it looks cool. I like the design. This place always has good trophies. From back when I raced Formula 4 here, they always had good trophies.
I was just gonna say, I mean, you're collecting trophies, so this one is special, huh?
It's nice to get another one. We hadn't had one for a while, so yeah, it's nice to put another one on the shelf.
All right, well, congratulations again. You have a vest right there. Let me just put that away because we're under attack here. But thank you so much, Liam. Oh, no, that wasn't a good idea. Anyway, but he'll be okay. He's fine. We're looking forward to tomorrow, to the second race of this weekend here at the fantastic Red Bull Ring. And you don't want to miss it tomorrow, but now here are the highlights. Do enjoy, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, Liam, excellent job, excellent job. That's back where we belong. P1. Congratulations, mate.